Then my saving grace came in the form of a unusual Christmas angel. I get a text message from my friend Catherine Popper, who's a great bass player, played with a bunch of amazing people from Willie Nelson to Levon Helm. But in this case, she plays in a band with Norah Jones. And she says, hey, Nora J gave you a shout out. And I immediately go, oh no, what could she have to say about me? I'm the guy who ruined Silent Night, because the previous year, December 13th, I'm getting ready for my first appearance. I've just had my beard bleached. I'm going to go like I did the year before, when I was just me with a Santa suit, no wig, anything. I'm just Mick Foley in a Santa suit doing something with the band.
Right.
And now I'm late. I'm lost. This is when I'm really struggling with the head injury things. I can't remember the number. I'm cursing in the car because my GPS is telling me I'm on the BQE, Brooklyn Queens Expressway, and I'm yelling at my GPS, the BQE is right up there. I'm not on the BQE. And I got so upset I was going to go home. I was just going to turn around and go home. And then I pulled over. I looked in the rearview mirror and I said, if you don't get to that show, do the best job you can, you don't deserve to wear this red suit. I had beautiful new stuff, and that was a talk with myself. Got out of the car, and I immediately see the smiles on the faces, right? And the first few people, oh, Santa, how are you? And another kid, the guy walks by and said, F you, Santa. I said, why are you so angry? He said, because I don't like you. And I said, I think what you're telling me is you don't like yourself. Would you like to talk about it? 5 minutes later, he says, Merry Christmas, Santa, and walks away. So I walk into the Bell House Theater in Brooklyn, and I'm feeling pretty good. I'm there 10 minutes before the show ends. I walk in, I see my friend Catherine, her eyes just light up. She calls me to the stage, right? I come up, I say a few words, and then I just drift into the background while they do their last song, which is Silent Night. And the women sound so good. It's Sasha Dobson, Catherine Popper, Norah Jones together. They just harmonize. They're beautiful together. But I start thinking to myself, if you don't walk up to that microphone
Oh, no.
and start singing with Norah Jones as Santa,
Oh, no.
you will never forgive yourself. So I do walk up and I start singing Silent Night, not realizing that there's about 6 stanzas to Silent Night, which is probably 4 more than most people know. And I only find out afterwards that they were recording it they were doing a live recording. And so all I can think is, I'm the guy who ruined Silent Night. So when my friend Catherine, 6 or 7 months later, says, Nora J gave you a shout out, it's like, I didn't even think she'd have an opinion of me. And if she did, I thought it'd be, oh, is that Catherine's friend who messed up Silent Night? And instead, what it is, it's an interview she's doing in the green room of the Tonight Show. They're getting ready to do Jimmy Fallon. And she was asked about their new album. And she said it was so nice to see so many familiar faces. And the question is, was Mick Foley there? And that's a yes or no question. She goes, no, Mick wasn't there that night, but he was at one of our shows a few weeks earlier. It was so funny because there was nowhere for Mick to sit, so we put him on stage with us. He literally sat right next to me. We love Mick Foley.
Wow.
And then she goes, he's probably the best Santa I've ever seen. And she goes into her account from her point of view. Last year, we didn't know if Mick was going to be able to make it. He showed up at the last second, and when he walked in, it was like the real Kris Kringle had just entered the building.
Wow.
And here it is, aside from no one came through bigger when it mattered less. This is right up there. She goes, I don't know how to describe it because it was so surreal. He looked so real. Mick is Santa. And I realized that what I had done was taken Norah Jones, who sold 37 million albums, and made her feel like a child again.
Yeah.
And that's what we call the Santa moment. And everything changed for me. Everything changed for me to where I stopped thinking about thousands of people live, millions of people, and I thought, how can I make one person feel special? How can I create a moment that they will never forget? And it really made a world of difference to me. And that year I did get called for WWE to do their Christmas episode. And I said, no, I'm good. And they said, Mark, Carano with Tower Racing. He goes, can I ask why in case Vince wants to know? I said, yes, I'm already volunteering that night. So Hogan did the Christmas show, and I entertained 8 children at a foster home, and I had no doubt that I had made the right decision. And I've never asked to be back on the show. It's I want what I do. I think I've worked hard enough to get that accolade. You know when they say, "Hey, he's a hell of a worker," right? That's what every wrestler wants to hear.
Right.
The equivalent in wrestling is like when I started doing the appearances for Christmas Magic. The social workers came over after my first visit, before the second visit, and said, "Do you know what the kids were saying on the bus after they visited you?" I said, "What?" They said they were all going, "That's the real Santa." So kids are smart. Ever since the Home Alone with Kevin McAllister, where he goes, "I know you're not the real Santa, but I know you work for him." That opened the door, and I think it allowed children to be in that magic age for another couple of years, where they can accept that all the Santas they see are just working for them, but they believe there is a real Santa. And if you work hard enough and you look good, it's not just the look, because anybody, a lot of guys can grow out a beard and they don't have the warmth, but it's something you really have to work on. It's like anything else, Anyone can dress up in a Party City suit, but I think you work on it, you have the authenticity. You're not just explaining away questions by saying it's Christmas magic. In some ways, you're being a really creative liar to the children, but extending that magic for another year is the biggest compliment I can get.